there, Agile adventurer. Just a quick question. What if, for the price of a fancy coffee or half a pizza, you could unlock over 700 hours of the best Agile content on the planet? That's audio, video, e-courses, books, presentations, all that you can think of. But you can also join live calls with world-class practitioners and hang out in a flame war-free and AI slop-clean Slack with the sharpest minds in the game. Oh, and yes, you get direct access to me, Vasco, your Scrum Master Toolbox podcast. No, this is not a drill. It's the Scrum Master Toolbox membership. And it's your unfair advantage in the Agile world. So if you want to know more, go check out scrummastertoolbox.org/membership. That's scrummastertoolbox.org/membership. And check out all the goodies we have for you. Do it now. But if you're not doing it now, let's listen to the podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of this Engineering Organizations for Impact, the mini-series with Tom Gilb and Simon Holzapfel. Tom and Simon, welcome back.
Thank you so much.
So yesterday we explored what I'm sure Apple Podcasts will not like me to say, fuzzy BS. Let's say it that way, and how that affects the decision making and how we structure our organizations. We explored a little bit what is the actual value trigger in organizations today, and it is no longer efficiency. So let's now talk about continuous strategy engineering, because that is where the critical decisions get made. So let's start with the problem. Tom, we go about strategy very much in most organizations like we used to go about waterfall projects in the past. Why is it that we're missing that adaptive and learning aspects of Agile at the strategy layer?
Simple answer. The professors of strategy have no clue as to what Evo is. They are locked in decades ago waterfall mode. I've analyzed their works. I've written about this in my strategy ring book. So they haven't got a clue. That's the reason. So the people learn about the strategies in waterfall mode, and they haven't undergone the Evo, the Agile conversion. That's the simple answer.
So one of the things, and we'll put the link to Tom's presentation about Evo for strategy. One of the things I really liked about your presentation of Evo for strategy was this concept of this, not just the cycle. That's obvious, right? Like we're in an Agile podcast. There's always cycles. It's no longer linear, folks. I guess everybody heard and already knew about that. But you talk about micro cycles. Like every cycle is super short, and there are even short cycles within the major cycle. So walk us just high level through this Tom Gilb's approach to strategy. I guess we could call it discovery and execution, because it's not just execution or not just discovery/planning.
Okay, so there are two aspects, and one is the discovery of the strategies. Now, this has many names. It is essentially a design process. You're trying to find a design called strategy by the management people to reach objectives, goals, requirements, your North Star. Okay. So, and I believe people don't seem to understand or teach the design process, which in very simple terms is you have some quantified values you want to reach, and what kind of things you have to do to get there. That's the design process. Okay. Now, if your objectives or requirements are unclear, you have an unclear design process, and you'll throw in unclear designs which won't work. So your design process fails, and then it doesn't matter how well you manage the rest of it. You're just managing bad designs at best. Okay. So the second part is, given that you have a design which is more or less good, a hypothesis, a strategy, or a set of strategies, how do you prove them? Now, if you have a 5-year strategy, And after 5 years, you try it out and it doesn't work, you're screwed big time. Okay. So Agile says, no, you have to decompose this large strategy into a stream of smaller cycles of strategy delivery. And so the question becomes, is that stream once a year, once a quarter, once a month, once a week, once a day? Well, long story short, I've landed for decades, I've been using once a week as a very good starting point. Now, this assumes you can do another type of design thing, which is take a big strategy, which everybody thinks will take a year, the least, and somehow divide it into 52 parts weekly. And I call this decomposition. People don't know how to do it. They are mentally, culturally convinced it cannot be done. Okay, now I do describe exactly how to do it, but by the way, there's a new shortcut. You can give anything big to your favorite AI and say, decompose this into 52 weekly value delivery steps. And it will do
value delivery steps, yeah.
Exactly. And it will do it in 1 minute for free. So you can't, and you take a look at them and they're perfectly reasonable. So you can no longer be in denial. Okay.
Oh, you can still be in denial, it's just harder.
Well put. Well put.
Okay, I wanted to specifically give us your thoughts on how this approach is maybe having the design, as you said, as for the whole thing, the whole strategy, but then incrementally deliver over, in this case, 52 weekly periods. But how does that compare with vision and OKRs? Because OKRs are, let's call it the ruling approach right now in many companies. And I think it's important to make a contrast here. So how do you see your approach being different from this vision and OKR approach to strategy?
Okay. I have a paper which you can share called What is Wrong with OKRs? And anybody can look it up on Google. So what's wrong? Now I'll simplify and I'll be very nice. If you're doing small scale stuff that OKRs were designed for, like planning your personal work 14 days hence, OKRs are wonderful. They force you to think a little bit. That's great. If you're designing the air traffic control system for Europe or the health system for United Kingdom, it's a totally different scale. And OKRs were never designed and never changed so they were appropriate for that class of problem. They're just too simple. Okay, that's the problem with OKRs. Now, the idea of having quantified objectives is quite different from OKRs. Okay, but I have, long written about a discipline for doing that, and time doesn't permit me to give you the 5-day course on how to do it or the 500 pages, but we can share those 500 pages for free with people. Okay, but there's a lot more to it than just OKRs is just too simple. But we do need to clarify our purpose. Part of clarifying, but not the only part of it, is to quantify variables of values, right? So, but if you mentally equate OKR with really good value requirements for large systems, there's a big gap of about 100 things that are different and wrong there, which I have written about. That's the short answer. People will only be satisfied by reading that list and saying, gee, he's right. We don't do this. We don't do that. Okay. And I'll certainly supply that. I'm going to stop there. Maybe you need to get back if I didn't complete the question.
No, I think it's important, and we're going to explore this idea further tomorrow when we talk about testing, not testing functionality in software, but actually testing strategies. We'll talk about that tomorrow, so stay tuned. But I wanted to go back to you, Simon, because you've been applying systems thinking and thinking about organizations and behaviors, because there's a lot of behavioral aspects here as well. So what is missing in our organizations today to be able to do this kind of strategy design, strategy slicing? I'm going to use slicing here for incremental delivery, of course, and then eventually the actual execution of that incremental process at strategy level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's some sort of visible information radiator or maybe sprinkler, like an overhead sprinkler. Imagine you're sitting in an office and you've got an overhead sprinkler system. This is the Hoshin Kanri sprinkler system, whereby the CEOs on the top make good use of Tom and his methods. It hits the sprinkler system, then comes out like a fine mist over everyone's desk. Alignment. We don't have anything like that. We have no mental model for most of leadership about how you actually align people.
And by the way, Hoshin Kanri is do they call it catchball in the US? It's like a process of strategy deployment by which there's information flowing in both ways. So
Correct.
from leadership to the rest of the organization and vice versa all the time. So it's not just leadership goes to a very expensive resort with a couple of expensive consultants, comes back and, like Moses delivers the tablets, but rather they are participating in this continuous iteration of...
So, and anyone in the U.S. who wants to know more should just ping Todd Covert, who's the head of school at the Montessori School of the Berkshires. He is a wizard. He's really the top practitioner of strategy tactics, or he's in the top cohort in the U.S.
And so stay tuned, everybody. We're going to talk about how do we make this practical. Tomorrow, we're going to mention testing and how it should happen even at strategy level. So stay tuned. Tom and Simon, thank you very much for being part of this special mini-series. I'll see you tomorrow.
Take it easy.
Bye-bye.
All right, I hope you liked this episode. But before you hit next episode, here's the deal. This podcast is powered by people like you, the members who wanted more than just inspiration. They wanted real tools and real connection to people who are practicing Agile every day. We're talking access to over 700 hours of Agile Gold, CTO level strategy talks, summit keynotes, live workshops, e-courses, deep dive interviews, books, and if you're into no estimates, we got the pioneers of no estimates in those deep dive interviews as well. Agile business intelligence, creating product visions, coaching your product owner courses, you name it. You'll get invites to monthly live Q&As with Agile pioneers and practitioners, plus a private Slack community, which is free of all of that AI slop you see everywhere, and of course, without the flame wars. It's a community of practitioners that want to learn and thrive together. It's the best place to connect with community and learn together. So if this podcast has helped you before, imagine what you will get from this podcast membership. So head on over to scrummastertoolbox.org/membership and join the community that's shaping the future of Agile. And we have so much for you. So check out all the details at scrummastertoolbox.org/membership, because listening is great, it's important, but doing it together, that's next level. I'll see you in the community Slack.
We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.